Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Good day, my wonderful viewers. You're welcome to today's program, Frequently Asked Questions. And with me today is my wonderful women of God. On my right is,
Giant Soki.
and on my far right is,
Giants and Kiro.
and we'll be deliberating and discussing about marriage and divorce. Well, the question is actually true to every one of us here, so let's just start deliberating about it.
Okay, thank you very much. I would start by saying that for the purpose of what we're discussing about, I'm sure our discussion of an idea of marriage will be limited to God's kind of marriage, right? And if we're talking about Christian marriages, then we would have some exemptions. You know, in the world, there are some things that are permittable. Some things, I mean, some people can actually do some things and get away with it. But for Christians, there are things that we can't just do. And if we're talking about the Christian kind of marriage, I mean, the true kind of marriage that models Christianity and what God actually wants us to do in Christian homes, then divorce is an exemption. I mean, there is nothing like that when it comes to the Christian homes. However, I know that there are still some limiting exemptions to that, which we will get into that. So, for me to just answer that question, there is no divorce when it comes to Christian marriages. Thank you.
Okay, from my own take too, I also support my fellow sister here. Divorces in marriages, it's something else now, but sincerely through the Christian eye, divorce it's not a good idea because even the Bible states in Malachi chapter 2 verse 14 that even God hates divorce. So it should not be an option when it comes to a Christian marriage. When we look back to the time of our fathers' fathers, you will notice that people stay longer in marriages. But these days, because most people will just come up, I have rights, little arguments, you see, and little some misunderstanding, you see people jumping into thinking of having a divorce or going into divorce, not even minding what the family is going to be facing. This divorce we are talking about, yes, it might be a serious issue, but it's something that with time, a marriage, you need to give marriage a lot of things. It takes a lot of sacrifice to be in a marriage. Even God Himself knew about it before the institution was formed. And for you to be in a marriage, you need to be ready for it, be ready to sacrifice. So most times those sacrifices are what one person or even the both parties don't want to commit to, not minding what the family are going to be facing. Divorce leads to so many things. Even the children will actually feel the effect of the divorce. The persons, the man, the woman will feel the effect of the divorce. So it's something that's going to affect in the negative way. So I don't advise as a Christian to actually hold one. Thank you.
Well, my take is actually this. For me, I wouldn't want to die in a marriage that is loveless. In as much as I believe that the Lord is saying that the Lord frowns against that divorce, but I would prefer that we actually separate. A home where a woman is unhappy. A home where a man comes into the home, you are afraid. You start jittering. You understand? When you hear the man talk, you are like, you don't know the next step. Maybe the next thing is just a slap or beating. I cannot go through things like that. Marriage is to be enjoyed, not to be endured. I can't endure that brutality. I'm not in support of it. So when things are getting out of hand like that, what I expect a true believer to do for my own take is not biblical. I just want, let's separate for some time. It might take a year, it might take 6 months, and get to understand ourselves better. That's my take on it.
To add today, to say something contrary to what you're saying, I would believe that there should be a medium for mediation. As in, there should be, you people need to, if you know you're having misunderstanding in a marriage, you don't just jump into separation. You need to talk to somebody, because when you open up to somebody, there might be a solution.
Is it when you die that the solution will come? This is a man that you called so many people to actually talk to him. They've advised him, they've spoken to him. At the end of the day, he still goes back to that character. And you still want that woman to continue in that house?
In my own opinion, I feel like, just like she said, I mean, separation should be the very last option.
Exactly.
Before it gets to that point, like, I mean, there's been series of other steps. But to just say something had happened and gone wrong, and the first option is way out.
No,
I
I'm
don't
not
agree.
saying immediately.
Okay. And,
No.
And do we also forget or remember that there's also the place of, by the way, you know, you said loveless. Now, there's if I may understand you, are you saying that I mean, whether it is a physical violence or emotional violence, there should be separation? Because you know that there are different kinds of domestic violence, right?
Yes.
Some
yes,
are
yes,
physical,
yes.
like it has to
Yes.
go with some are just emotional abuse.
Emotional,
Yes.
yeah.
Right?
Emotional abuse that will lead to depression. Depression that will lead to suicide.
I agree with you. I agree with you completely. But I am saying that, don't forget, when we started, we said that we're talking of Christian marriages. I mean,
Yes.
for any other person, people do a lot of things and get away with it. Especially in the Western world, this thing they're talking about that we call divorce, and I mean that is a thing for us. It's nothing for them. They can remarry and marry and remarry over and over again. I mean, they don't feel any somewhat. I mean, they don't feel anything. But in our own culture, we still have this little respect for culture and above all for God. Do you
Yeah,
understand?
sure.
So we just wouldn't want to say, and again, don't forget, you're a role model as a child of God.
Yeah.
There are people that are looking up to you in the church, in the society, and you wouldn't just want to be the epitome of discussion. Trust me, as the leader that you are in church, once you take that option, a lot of other people that are looking up to you, their homes too becomes shaky. Right?
For me, I would say, in the case of maybe if the person is going through maybe emotional trauma or even physical trauma, there is one thing we need to understand. Marriage is a coming together of two people deciding to become one. So in marriage, the two parties are supposed to be bent on ready to make the change. Because if they say they want to go for, yes, a mediation process, and they talk to somebody and maybe one party is not ready to change, then it's a problem. But irrespective, they need to still work at it.
Work at it.
But you know
Yes,
that,
they
in all
need to still
honesty,
work at it.
I'm just trying to be very opinionistic now. In all honesty, Christians are suffering more in marriages than
Yeah, because they are forbearing.
a lot of secular people. I mean, you just see them and you feel it's not as if they don't have issues, but most Christian homes are suffering more than an average person.
Yes.
Okay.
Take for
So-
instance what happened to one great man of God.
Okay.
The woman came outside and was lamenting what she has been passing through for more than 20 years.
And you know, before it gets to that point
Yes,
where
and
they
she
come
couldn't
out
take it
in
again.
public to lament,
Imagine
they've
a
had
man
it
of
okay.
God, a Jew that had all the opulence in this world, had everything, but the woman still walked away from that marriage. For you to know the gravity of what she was going through for those years. No, marriage is not a do or die affair. If you've actually deliberated on it, you're not changing, I'm not changing. I I need to take a walk down the road for the sake of my life and the sake of the life of my children.
And most times you forget what the children are going to go through on the road of divorce.
Thank you.
It's not, marriage is not just something you just wake up in the morning and just walk away from. Because it's not just you that is concerned.
We're not saying total divorce, just separation.
But
Let's see how it's going to work out.
Legally, if you're separated for a space of 3 years,
3 years,
you're
yes.
automatically divorced.
Divorce.
And if it gets to that stage, fine.
Oh.
Are you now telling me, Mars,
Yes.
that we don't have single parents that have really trained their child in a godly way, and when you see them outside, you will not know that it's actually a single parent that is actually training them?
But I have definitely
Jesus,
seen,
we
but
agree
there are
with you.
few of them.
Very few.
Because the kind of psychological trauma.
Especially if the child is living with the mother.
Exactly.
It's very few and very
few.
rare.
Yes, because the psychological trauma that goes with the divorce, all the mess that goes with it, even the woman herself.
Do you know
might not
that
be
in
happy.
divorce, children suffer more than the couples themselves?
That is if the man or woman wants to make the child to suffer. It's all about love. It didn't work out. My life is at stake. The life of my children at stake. And I keep showing, it is whereby you leave your husband and you separate from your husband, you begin to jump from Paul to
excuse me, ma.
Joseph.
Now let me ask you, at what point should a Christian decide on divorce?
Okay, yeah, very
At
good.
what point?
When all hope is lost.
How do you define that?
When you
all
have
hope is
exhausted all your strengths, physically, spiritually. Let me give you an example.
lost? Okay.
There's this man, whenever he has problem with the woman, or to him the woman didn't treat the family well, you know what you tell the woman to do for the next 2 weeks? On these ties, the woman will sleep on the floor of a tie, met tie, and the man sleeps on the bed. That is torture. And if the woman does not have food to give her, I have not cooked or whatever, and the man demands a relationship, an intimate relationship with the wife, and the wife refuses, the man will starve the children and the wife.
But
how long can you take all this? And every little thing you do, boa. I've seen men, it's all over in the social media. You see where women are brutally molested by men. They keep telling them, leave that place, take a walk a bit. And at the end of the day, they die there.
But the thing is, there is something we need to understand. Any trauma a woman or a man goes through in marriage started from somewhere. Mm-hmm. And when there is something that started at a day, when you don't take care of a crack on a plate at a point, it will definitely be broken.
The typical African man marriages goes cold on time.
Then the person needs to take it to God, because God is.
I was
is
going
the,
to say that.
God
in all
is
of
the
this, like,
ultimate
where have we kept the
maker.
place of prayers?
Prayers.
Yes, I'm not saying that we're not doing that. Look, I don't know how to explain it. You might pray for some people to change. They refuse to change. Some men, do you know this problem that is actually happening in homes? You know, it's actually some men's ego. To them, the woman want to boss them around. But just show me a little love, a little care, a little understanding.
And in the other way around too, women too, because of their ego. Because a woman, maybe when they married her, she didn't have anything.
Yes,
maybe
she's humble.
she's humble and all that. And maybe in the husband's house, she got to maybe get some school, more qualification, get a good job, and ends pay.
I want to use the man as his footstool.
Definitely. What do you say in such a situation?
The same thing I'm still saying. I'm still standing by it. Me. My take is my take. It's not biblical. It's my take.
What the main thing I would really say is there should be a call on every married couple, because in everything they say, no matter what happens, it's always good to go to the maker, to the real source.
Yes.
The real source of marriage was God.
Yes.
So, and it's still God.
Yes.
So if anybody that says he wants to really have bliss or enjoy his or her marriage, he should definitely go to who? God. And it's not like you want to go to God and you just go, okay, I just want to pray, oh God, please intervene in my marriage. And when you just wait for a while, nothing is working. then you now say, no, God doesn't want this marriage. No,
You just take a walk.
you need to, and you just take a walk. No, you need to really stay in the place of prayer.
See, a typical African man is a polygamist by nature.
All men.
No, a typical African man.
Not
That
only
is why-
African man.
Excuse me, my love. That is why we have problem in our marriages. And a Western person can love you for eternity. But our love in this African setting goes cold in 5 or 10 years.
A Western man can love you for eternity, because even the rate of divorce abroad is far more than
That's
even
why I say they take a walk
worse than-
when it's
Yeah,
against
they
their
run.
life. They take a walk when it's against their life. But our own, do you know what my grandmother suffered for my grandfather? It can happen now. If it happens now, girls will take a walk.
But there is something we need to understand. That is why we need to bring up the girl child in a very good manner, because everything starts from the foundation. Even before the man goes to a full-grown man and he wants to take a wife and make a family and all that, it starts from somewhere. Most of the things he replicates in his marriage is what he has seen his father do. That is even why in
fact,
the Igbo
it's
land, they like to do what they call family background search
Okay.
to check
That family
if-
background search is actually applicable everywhere. Like,
Yes,
of
yes,
course,
even in
every
the
parent
village,
will want to go and do
yeah,
a background
because
check before you send
and
out
that's
your children.
That's why, so sorry to say, most times when they find out that the family is the person is from a divorced home, they kind of, maybe there's a little withdrawal.
Yes.
In such
Yes,
cases.
yes.
So it's just because of something like this. Because when the person enters into marriage, if not for the Spirit of God, if the Spirit of God is not dwelling in that kind of person, the person automatically replicates what he or she, the foundation he's coming from. So once we know that we have a job to do on the generation we are bringing forth, to set them on the right foundation, so that irrespective of what happens, they know they are seeds from God, and they know they are entering into a covenant, which is a marriage, and they are dealing with somebody God has ordained them for. So irrespective of, it's just like telling me that you want to give up on somebody because you're trying to win a soul for God, because you know I've tried everything to win this soul for God, and because you know he's still bent on, no, he doesn't want to repent, he wants to wallow. You tell me you want to stop praying for him. No,
To give up.
you want to give up. No, the way you don't give up on that soul is the same way you don't give up on your marriage. It is even when
I completely agree with her. Like, I feel like for an average, don't forget what we're talking about here now is Christian marriages. Look, there are loads and lots of things that we would have done if we were not Christians.
That is
I
why
agree with
I
you
am
that
saying
there should be a limit to
take-
what.
Yes,
I
excuse
agree.
me, sorry.
But I
There's
still
this my
believe that-
auntie. There's this my auntie in Abuja. She's crippled till now. My own blood auntie.
wow.
Had a misunderstanding. No, had a misunderstanding with the husband. Do you know this man threw her from one-story building down?
Wow, so sad.
And at that time, we've been telling her, leave this man, leave this man. Is he not a believer? Temptation can come at any given time.
But-
when you see crisis like this, yes, you need to pray, but you need
listen
to
to
watch
me, eh?
and pray. Watch and pray.
But has she been like letting people know what was happening? Because such people like this might have been bottling this thing from the onset. If when this thing started
Again,
she had treated it.
Do you know that a lot of people who go through so much depression is because they don't air their view. They don't speak
Exactly.
out.
But sometimes
This is not the time for you to start concealing and covering up so much in marriages and say, they said no third party.
Yes.
When we were going into marriage, they told us not to talk to people, not not now anymore. Now the temper is so high, like everybody is
on the edge.
Yes. So
Yes.
you don't sit back and swallow a lot of things. I mean, just speak to somebody. Speak to somebody.
Okay, listen.
But then again, I agree with you that when it becomes physical,
Yes.
there should be a little space. I agree with you, but I am saying that as a child of God, before it gets to that level where you are thinking of moving out or giving, let it be that you have spoken to God about it. And God has told you, my daughter, I'm actually saying just excuse him for a while. Probably he himself needs to go through some psychological trainings or tests or therapy or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe he just needs some little prayers. Maybe there's just been an attack. Maybe that something has gone wrong, especially if that was not the case in the beginning.
In the beginning,
Let's
yes.
look for the root of that issue. If this man, or I do not believe that any woman in this world who is going through violence in marriage did not see signs or symptoms in the beginning.
Thank
I
you.
do not believe that.
Don't say that.
No, listen
Don't
to me,
say
ma.
that.
No, listen to me.
Some people go into marriage with
listen to me.
pretense. Don't
Excuse
say
me, ma.
that.
Excuse me, ma. What I mean that signs and symptoms is, yes, I agree that some people go with pretense, but
Jesus.
no matter what, you can't pretend for too long. There are things
For
that
how long?
you
As a believer, are you supposed to cut a man for 3 years?
no.
So why will you know all these things?
See, let me
for
tell
the
you,
6
ma.
months or 3 months you want to
Let
cut
me
a man,
say
will
what
you
I'm-
get all these things? No.
Excuse me, ma.
Ha.
He can pretend not to hit you physically, while you are cutting, but he cannot hide his anger and emotions.
You don't have
Those
anger?
are still symptoms.
Who does not have anger?
Everybody does, but some people know how to.
Ah.
Look, when you are in a relationship with a man and you people are dating, and then for instance you are sitting in his car, you are driving off, and you are seeing the way he's shouting on a male conductor or somebody on the road, are you mad? You've gone on my road. You think that he will not do that to you, and you are seated there in front of the seat crossing your leg thinking that he's just talking to a roadside conductor or something. Sorry, that is his real temper.
Yeah.
So it is not only when he starts hitting you before you know that there was a sign that he could beat me. Watch his temper, watch his tone of in the way he speaks to you.
Okay, look at
Or even if he's pretending and doing all the loving up, because you people are licking ice cream during the courtship and going from one pizza joint to the other.
Fine.
Watch the way he speaks to subordinates or to
Fine.
people around.
Fine.
That is how you will know he's real him.
Yes, I made an example with that great man of God. So what do you think would have transpired in that?
So you
thing?
think great men of God, they don't have temper issues?
They are human beings like us.
Don't they have temper issues?
So that's what I'm telling you. For that woman to walk away, you think the likes of what is his name, Ora Roberts, Benny Hinn, or the likes of them did not talk? You think they did not talk? They did not cancel them?
No. They may have done all of that, but what I am saying is that in the beginning there was a sign, right?
What
You must have
sign?
seen some sign. That's what I'm saying. It may not have been a physical sign, right? But there were some little sign of either harsh tone, unforgiveness. Maybe when you have little arguments at that point, no matter how rosy it is,
Yeah.
and then you just see him log off. Maybe in few hours, a day or two, and you are not seeing him again. You think that is ordinary?
No, it's
He
not.
will do worse when you get married. Those are signs to watch out for.
Excuse me. Let us take the next
listen,
question.
no,
There's
Listen,
something before
Listen,
we wrap up this section. There's something I need us to understand. There's something I need us to understand. We are actually in the end time, and there is literally an attack from the devil on what marriages.
Thank you. In fact, that was what I wanted to say. In fact, as a matter of fact, his major assignment right now is marriages.
Marriages.
You know why? If the devil hits marriages or hits a home, he has succeeded in attacking
Yes.
the
The
whole
children,
community,
the generation.
the generation, the community, the society.
Exactly.
It starts from the marriage,
The
family. So his major aim right now is just marriages, homes.
So it is
the
now-
reason why you're seeing homes being attacked. That's why I said
I think we
that
don't have
if
much
you
time.
don't
We
have,
don't have
sorry
much
ma,
time.
that's why I said that please, if this was not the man's character or the woman's character in the
From the
beginning,
onset.
and then you now notice some of these things, it's okay to stay apart when it becomes worse. But let's look at it spiritually.
Please,
Something
we need
would have
to
gone
wrap
wrong.
it up. Please,
Thank you
can
very
you
much, ma'am.
just
Okay. Okay. Lastly, what I would like to say is, yes, there is literally an attack of the devil on marriages. So it is our decision as Christians to stand as able-bodied soldiers to protect our home.
Okay.
Because if you don't make that decision, the devil is ready to kick off that marriage from your hands. And once he does that and is able to get your whole household, the generation, the community, the society is already a problem. So it's now a decision in prayer to stand strong, to be able to.
Okay. Finally, I would say that the Bible says that a wise woman builds her own home, but the foolish one brings it down by her own hands. So, in conclusion, I am just saying that a chunk of the work is on us women.
Yeah.
To succeed in marriages, is the bulk of the work is in our hands. And how is it in our hands? Constantly, daily, if possible, let's put our husbands, our homes in prayers.
Children.
Because they are constantly exposed.
Yes.
Constantly, they may not want to be what they are. I mean, sometimes, a lot of times, you see these violent men after they are finished doing what they have
They'll
done.
be sober.
You're just like, how? What happened to me? So you just realize that something went wrong. So constantly, we should place our children, our husbands in the hands of God, like almost on daily basis. Let's not mind how they treat us, because if you want to follow the way and the things they do, you will not, that love will not flow for you to start praying for them. Do you understand?
Well,
So I
thank
feel
you.
like we should do that
Yes,
more.
thank you very much. We have had what my wonderful women of God have said so far. It's all about prayers to sustain a good marriage. A marriage not to lead to divorce or separation is all about prayer. Hope to catch you same time next week. From us here, it's bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.